Hi everybody, just a quick DayZ server modding video for people out there who are trying to use Sakhal assets or Livonia assets on Chernus, or Chernus assets on Livonia, or Livonia assets on Sakhal, and you're finding that you're placing things like houses or bunkers or structures and there's no loot spawning inside. So using an object spawner to spawn in the building, for example, and you're restarting your server and nothing's happening. So there's two kind of reasons for this, and I'm going to go into them. So let's dive in and let's have a look at a server. So this is a local server, and so the file structure looks different in terms of this is Windows File Explorer, and it's not on the web. We're not looking at via FTP, but the folders should be the same. So within your server, you'll have a folder that says MP missions or XB missions or PS missions if it's PlayStation. And then when you go in here, you'll have what are called the mission files for the different maps. So you've got Chernus, you've got Enoch, which is Livonia, and you've got Sakhal, which is Sakhal. Obviously, there's lots of customized ones as well. And then if we go into, say, Chernus, we've got kind of the main root directory of the mission. And the important files you're really interested in are mapgrouppos and mapgroupproto. Now, when you're placing an item, a house, in, say, DayZ Editor, and you place the house down, and then you export the object spawner JSON and you export the mapgrouppos, you'll end up with an entry that you'll put into mapgrouppos, and that'll tell the server at this particular location there's this structure. But the server then looks at a different file. The server then looks at mapgroupproto, this file here. And mapgroupproto is the file that actually tells the server what should go into that structure. And what you'll find is structures that are exclusive to certain maps, say like the Sakhal bunker or the new Sakhal houses, or Livonia, the Livonia bunker, for example, the mapgroupproto entries aren't included in the Chernus server files. So let me give you an example. So here we go. So I was placing chunks of the Sakhal bunker down on Chernus just for a test, and one of the bits is called land warhead storage main. So this is the main center bit of the bunker on Sakhal. So if I wanted loot to spawn there, if we copy that name and then we go to the mapgroupproto for the Chernus server, and we just search for it. So we just search for it. We'll see it's simply not there. So although I can use an object spawner to place that particular object on Chernus, and I could even put in the mapgrouppos setting for it, nothing would spawn because the server would look in the mapgroupproto file and go, well, there's nothing here. So what you need to do is, if you want to do that, you need to go to the server file for Sakhal, go to the mapgroupproto for Sakhal, open that up, find the entry. So here it is, and then you need to you need to carefully go from the beginning to the end. So from the opening group to the closing group, you would copy that, and then you would paste that into the mapgroupproto for your Chernus server. And as you can see, this is saying, look, land warhead storage main, it's military, it's weapons, and it's on the floor and it's on the ground with a max loot of 14. And it's saying at these locations you can spawn loot in. What did I just change something there? Did it redo? I didn't. And so therefore that then gives the server all the information it needs to be able to spawn those items within that. But this is the big second thing as well, is that when you first introduce a new structure onto a map, say this bunker from Sakhal onto Chernus, although the object will appear straight away because it's an object spawner that you're going to put in your JSON, the loot won't, even if you've done everything right. And you may go into it and go, oh, well, where's all the loot spawning? The only way that you can get it to instantly start respawning loot is on a fresh server wipe. I think what happens, and I'm not an expert on this, so forgive me if I'm getting this wrong. I think what happens is when you first start the server, it looks at all the objects in the world that it should be spawning in and all the possible locations, and then starts churning through, and it takes chunks of the map at the time and then spawns that stuff in those particular items. So let's say it takes like Chernogorsk, looks at Chernogorsk and go, right, what should be here, let's spawn it in. Then it'll move on to Tizzy, then it'll go to Electro, then it'll go to Severograd, and it's doing the map in chunks at a time. It's not trying to do the whole thing at once. So if your particular structure that you've spawned in isn't in one of those locations that it looks at fairly quickly, then you're not going to get any new loot sometime for quite a while on quite a few server restarts. So don't panic. Just wait, and stuff should eventually start spawning in. Obviously check your file, make sure you use an XML validator or a JSON validator to make sure you've done everything right. But it'll only be really on a fresh wipe where these files are in the game right from the beginning of the server wipe that you get loot spawning in straight away. So there we go. Hopefully that's helpful. Just remember that thing about the fact that when you place an object in DayZ editor, place one of the new houses, you have the object spawner array JSON file, you'll have the map group pos snippet that you export, but then you've got to make sure that in the map group proto for the particular server where particular map of the server, or the server of the map where you're placing that particular item, that it does have an entry for the thing you're trying to place. And if it doesn't, go to one of the other maps and find it and then paste it in. Okay, hopefully that's useful. If it has been, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and of course I'll see you again soon.